Down. They're back there. I'm not gonna call. Hello. Is that on? Okay. Hi, everyone. So we're going to go ahead and get started with the college panel. Really quickly, just some housekeeping. If you have any cell phones on, please put them on silent. Bathrooms are back out this way to the left. Yeah, and then maybe just keep the food off the stage because I think there's going to be some pictures being taken. So as an introduction, my name is Jana Landon. I am a diversity intern recruiter here at Google, and I'm really just honored to be here. I attended the gala on Thursday night and got to hear from some of the Starfish scholars, and just the stories were just so inspiring. I met some of you all and got to talk to you, and you told me you were coming to this panel, so I was like, oh gosh, I better make sure it's good. So bear with me, I'm a little awkward, and it's Saturday morning, but I will do my best to keep you engaged during the next hour. So what we're going to do is talk a little bit about about opportunities at Google for college students. And then I have a panel of folks who are current and past interns who are going to answer your questions. So really, you can ask whatever you want. Be prepared to ask questions. I have a couple to start with, but this is really on you. What do you want to get out of this session? All right. Let's see. Can we start the presentation? Awesome. So just a little bit more about me. I grew up in Washington, D.C. My family is in Silver Spring, Maryland now. I went to Dartmouth College for undergrad. Dartmouth? Yeah? Oh, thank you. Thanks for hyping me. Thank you. I appreciate it. So at Dartmouth, I studied psychology, and I also was almost a theater minor. I got an offer from Google. In senior year, I did not want to take World History of Theater 2, so I didn't because I already had an offer. I still was really involved in the theater space at Dartmouth. And that might seem like a really untraditional background for Google, right? I thought so too. I almost didn't apply to Google's internship. I did the Building Opportunities in Leadership and Development internship when I was going into my senior year of college. I interned out in our headquarters in California on the Global Diversity and Inclusion team, and I almost didn't apply because I was like, I'm not an engineer. How can I go to Google? What do I even know about tech? And those are things that you kind of have to push out of your mind when thinking about Google. There are so many opportunities. You'll hear from some of our interns about they're probably not even very traditional backgrounds in terms of getting to Google. But I think that's the first thing, is understanding that there's a lot of opportunity here and in the tech industry, whether or not you are an engineer. Doing that internship brought me full-time to Google. I had an offer going back into my senior year of college, and I came back. I've been at Google almost 4 years. It'll be 4 years in August, and I've done a range of experiences. I was in California for 3 years, and I just moved here to New York in November, where I work on our internship program called the Engineering Practicum Internship. I love my job because I get to pay it forward. I get to help bring in interns like myself. Some of it times it's your first job out of school, and the programs that I work on are all diversity focused. So I'm working on building the next generation of engineers who are women, who are Black, Latino, and who are from schools that aren't just your top engineering schools. And that's what gets me excited to come to work every single day. So I'll start this presentation, and I will warn you, I'm going to brush through a bunch of the slides because they're kind of boring, and it's much more interesting to hear from the panelists. Just a quick thing, so Google's mission statement is to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. And while that might sound like something that's really just for search, which was our first product, it goes into all the products that we use now and all the products that we touch. If you think about maps, if you think about YouTube even, they're all cataloging all this information to make everyone in the world have access to it. And I think that's a unifying principle of people who come to work for Google. We want to change the world, and we're challenged to change the world. I myself am not an engineer, I don't code, but I help hire the next generation of engineers that are going to create the products that make the world a better place. So what started with search is now so many more products. I hope you guys use a lot of the products up here. But Google started 16, 17 years ago in a garage, and it started with just search, and now there's just so many products that so many people use all over the world. I'm going to actually just skip through all these slides about life at Google because our panelists are going to tell you about life at Google. Okay, so in terms of launching your career, I'm just going to go over a couple of internship opportunities that are available at Google. And before I do that, I want to know who's in the audience in terms of ages and years. So how many freshmen do we have in the audience? Okay, a couple sophomores. All right, juniors. And do we have seniors? Okay, congrats, almost done, y'all. All right, so for that reason, I'm not going to go over every single internship opportunity. For seniors, you guys will be actually looking at full-time opportunities. Something to write down right now is google.com/students. That is the website that has every type of opportunity. You can go on that site and kind of customize it, whether you're in tech, whether you're in business, and then you can really see all the program offerings we have. Some of them are internships, some of them are just programs you can do yourself online. But I really challenge you guys to go after this session and look at all the opportunities because I can't cover them in one presentation because there's so many. And just a quick also, how many of you guys are in tech, studying maybe computer science? Okay. And then are the rest of you guys kind of on the business side then? No? What are some of these majors? Let me hear. English? Okay. Okay. All right. All right. So we have everything, which I love. But like I said, even thinking about my background, you don't have to have a particular major to work at Google, especially on the non-tech side. On the tech side, computer science, we're looking for computer science majors and STEM majors. But even if you are an English major, my manager is a German major and a poetry major. So just to give you some context, it's about your transferable skills, not necessarily what you're studying. And also for the people who aren't in tech, I would urge you to take a computer science class just to see if you like it. It's very, very competitive now in tech, and I think having an understanding of some of those computer science principles is really helpful. So Google is 80% engineers, right? I am not on the eng side. We are the other 20%. This is an engineering company. These are people who are making the products that you use every day. Gmail, YouTube, all of those things. So we offer an internship for software engineering, and that's our biggest internship. We have 2,100 interns just in North America in our software engineering program. This is a 12-week normally program, 12 to 15-week program. You can learn more about it online. We actually have 2 software engineering interns who are going to speak to you on the panel. We also have additional programs on the business side that I want to highlight. So the engineering practicum program, we also have an engineering practicum intern on the panel. I hire for that program, so I'm really hyped that she's here to talk to you guys. She's a current intern. Engineering practicum is a 12-week internship program for freshmen and sophomores who are in computer science. So this is actually a developmental internship. You're paired with another pod mate, so you have another intern who's in your pod. You have 2 managers and you have a mentor as well. And it's really working to get you to that next level so you can be a software engineer at Google. I should have said for the software engineering internship, that is for sophomores and juniors in college. Let's see. This is the business internship. So the BOLD internship program stands for Building Opportunities in Leadership and Development. This is the internship that I did. This is putting people on the business side of Google. So that means in sales, in human resources, which we call people operations, and marketing primarily. We have about 150 interns this summer in BOLD. It's been around for, I believe, 8 years. I did it back in 2010, and we have a Boulder who's going to be on the panel to also talk to you about that. This is, again, an example of an internship where there's no specific major that they're looking for. It's really about your transferable skills. This internship is only for juniors, so only for juniors who are going into their senior year of college. And finally, the Google Online Marketing Challenge. So this is not an internship. This is an example of a program that we offer. This is for any major. It's a marketing challenge. It's a way for you to learn marketing and use Google tools to learn marketing. So you're challenged to create a team at your school or at your university, and you guys have to come up with a 3-week campaign using Google tools. Using AdWords, you get a credit for AdWords account. It's really cool. I actually got to host the international winners. They were from the Philippines, and they had created a tourism campaign because it's such a big part of where they're from. What's even more cool is that they worked with local businesses to execute this, and it actually is being implemented back where they're from. So they got to come to Google in Mountain View. I showed them around the campus, and then they went back and actually executed the plan that they did. So that's a great way for you not necessarily to dedicate a whole summer to Google, but to just do a project while you're still in school. Google also offers a lot of scholarships. You can go on to google.com/students/scholarships to find out more about these. Google.com/students, I'm going to just keep saying that because it's going to be your best friend. It has all our program offerings and all of our scholarships. And then for all other programs, really just check out that site. We want you to join us. I'm happy to talk a little bit more. I'll stick around after the panel if you have specific questions. But now I'm really excited to bring up the other panelists. You guys don't have to listen to me, and we can talk about life at Google and what it's like being an intern. right, so thank you, ladies. I'm just going to kick off and have the panelists introduce themselves. You guys already know me and where I'm from and what I do, but we also like to do fun facts at Google, so I'm going to put you on the spot to tell a fun fact about yourself. My fun fact is that I have a healthy obsession with Beyonce Knowles, and thank you. And we actually have something called Googleween here at Google, so people go all out and dress up for Halloween, and there's like a costume contest that's judged. So I was Beyonce a couple years ago for Halloween. I was new mommy Beyonce because she had just had Blue, and so I had like a baby with an afro, and I had like a blonde weave and blue nails. And people thought that I had dyed my hair. My wig was not good, so I was a little bit offended by that. But yeah, so I dressed up like Beyonce. People didn't recognize me, like, oh, you changed your hair, all that. But that's just my fun fact. I'm like a connoisseur of Beyonce, so all my teammates know to come to me. When the elevator fight happened, they all came to me and were like, what did Solange, what did Jay-Z do? And I was like, I don't know, I have to ask them, So that's my fun fact. I'm gonna kick it to my panelists. If you guys could say what you do at Google, maybe the internship program you did, and also your fun fact, please. Yeah?
So is this working? Yeah. My name is Mariana. I'm a software engineer. I've been here for about 3 years. I work in Google Docs and Drive. Before that, I did an internship in Mountain View in mobile search advertisements. And before that, I did the engineering practicum program that was here in New York City, 2010, I want to say. I'm originally from Mexico. I went to university at UT Austin. That's when I moved to the U.S. And a fun fact is that I am the most atypical Mexican. I hate spicy food. I love winter. I snowboard. So it's all right.
My name is Sydney. My name is Sydney. I am currently an agency account strategist, so I work on the business side, on the sales side. So I work with marketing agencies and helping them work better with their clients with Google products. Previous to this, I was a Bold intern in 2011 in Mountain View, and then again a Bold intern in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Fun fact about me is I have an obsession with being healthy and working out. So I do boot camp and only eat foods that are really organic and fresh. It's weird, but it's the thing that I'm obsessed with.
Hi guys, my name is Monica. I'm a rising junior, and right now I'm one of the engineering practicum interns here in this New York City office. I'm on the front-end video ads team. Last summer I was also an engineering practicum intern, but I was over in Mountain View, California, and there I was on the Google Play team, also doing front-end. Fun fact about me, did I skip anything? No, okay, fun fact about me. So if you know me, you know I love dancing, and I can break out and dance anywhere, and I will not be embarrassed. So I might embarrass you if you're my friend.
Well, if we put on some Beyonce, then you're gonna...
I will dance.
All right, so just to kind of kick off, I want you guys to talk about the projects you did during your internship program, and also where you went to school or where you go to school, and yeah, what you're doing this summer or in past summers when you interned.
When I interned here in New York City, I worked with the Google Spreadsheets team. And one of the really cool things about Google is that as an intern, you're not given the work that nobody else wants to do that's terrible, like bringing me coffee, or even the boring coding projects. I got to do things that a few months later I could show my friends. Look, this button that does this thing, it took me 4 weeks to add it, and it works. So I worked on adding a few features on Google Spreadsheets. One silly thing, for example, was before when you enter a number into a spreadsheet, into a cell, if it had decimal numbers, you could click a button to round it to 1 or 2 decimal points, but you couldn't customize it otherwise. So I added a button and a small pop-up that let you put how many numbers do you want there to be after the decimal point, and then you would do that and it would work magically. So that was what I did then. And then when I worked in Mountain View, I was working for the mobile search advertisements team, and back then Google was really trying to figure out how can we show more relevant ads in your mobile device. And I did a bunch of research, data mining, and trying to figure out how best we can leverage what we know about your location to show you advertisements relevance to you. So, for example, if you look up for pizza and there's a Pizza Hut right there, we probably don't want to show you a Domino's ad. We want to show you a Pizza Hut ad, etc.
Well, and where did you go to school?
Oh, sorry. I went to school at UT Austin, Texas.
In computer science?
Computer science.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I went to State University of New York at Oswego. Are there any SUNY students here? One? Okay. And I studied marketing and graphic design, so just the creative and the business side of things. In terms of previous internships, my first internship was for the YouTube marketing team. So making sure that videos were categorized by affinity group. So let's say if you're a college student, I would pull your profile. How much TV do you watch? How much are you online? Which websites do you frequent the most? So we could provide that to potential advertisers and show them, yes, college students are online and they want to buy what you have. So really making sure that we had a good idea on what different affinity groups were doing and interested in. And then in my second internship, I worked with small and medium businesses, so kind of like the internship if you saw the movie. Working with small and medium businesses to make sure that they had an online presence and that they were able to sustain their current business. So just making sure you can find the nearest grocery store, that you can find the nearest retail shop if you really wanted to spend money with them.
So I'm a rising junior at Stanford, and I'm majoring in computer science, minoring in education, mostly interested in urban education. Last summer, I was doing front end for the Google Play team. So what was cool about that was that I was adding some features. So if you have an Android phone and you download apps, then it was hard to do it straight from the web from a page called the My Apps page. And I added a toolbar and some buttons that let you rename your device or uninstall an app. So things like that. And that was cool because that was something I could show my parents and be like, hey, mom and dad, look, I did that this summer. Yeah. Then this summer, I'm doing front end for the video ads team. And so it's not as it's not to the same public that it was last summer, but this time I'm helping so advertisers have a better experience and getting their ads out there.
Can you just give a quick front end versus back end?
Sorry. So front end deals more with the look and feel of a website. So things like how does this page move, or how are you interacting with this website? Whereas back end deals more with the functionalities of a website, things that you're not necessarily going to see, but it's how the website is working.
Cool. Why did you guys choose Google? What drew you to Google? Why? Yeah.
I'll go first. So for the freshmen and sophomore out there, what drew me to Google were the programs that were mentioned. Just making sure you go online and apply online to those early programs if you can, and get your name out there as early as possible. They recognize when your name keeps coming up. So that's what really drew me to Google, getting into one of those programs and coming into one of the offices and getting to see what opportunities were available, how cool the office was a huge pull. And then how friendly everyone was. It's very rare that you'll go into a company and feel welcome, feel like you can have an impact, and what you have to say is valuable. So that's something that really pulled me in during a program.
So for me, my first summer at Google was actually with this thing called the Google Computer Science Summer Institute. And it was a 3-week-long program where they taught us basics of making a website, things like that, making an application. And then at the end, we actually had to build our own web app and present it to a lot of people at Google and everyone in the program. So I had zero coding experience before college and then before going into that program, but I saw it. I came across it in an email, I think, and I applied thinking, why not? It seems like I don't need to know CS, so I'm going to try. For some reason, they took me. But I being with Google for those 3 weeks, I fell in love with how passionate they were about really reaching out to people, teaching them CS, and then I felt like I was given this opportunity. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do what it takes to come back. So that's why I've been coming back for internships.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, the first point of contact, which is oh, I decided to apply to Google program. It's obviously because you're well, Google's amazing, isn't it? Everyone keeps saying it, #1 company, all these things. So, that's the first step. But I agree that, the programs themselves are really what made me want to return back for a second internship or full-time, because that's when you really get to experience Google. And I don't know, I think for me, it's a company with very, very passionate people for what they do, and they really want to change the world, and there's the resources and there's the brains. So like really there's a huge opportunity to do a lot of things in the world, and Google does have a lot of programs, not just to like in the technological sense, like like sure make search better or whatever, but like how can we bring people from Africa to technology? How can we so it's like it's a worldwide push to really take everything we're doing out there, and I think that for me is very, very, I don't know, it's very aligned with what I want, and yeah, so I stayed.
Yeah, and just a point that all these panelists have made is about how important the internship was to coming back full-time or programs were. Google and other companies really look at that pipeline, right? Like they look at like, we've already invested in you, you did really well in this program, why are we gonna go outside and just try to find a bunch of new people? Like they want to keep investing in you and bring them back. So, a bunch of people here have done the internship program and come back for a full-time opportunity or another internship because Google's already invested in you and wants you to come back. Kind of switching gears and thinking about college and what you guys were involved with, do you think that there were any things that you studied or activities that you did that really helped set you up for success at Google?
So right now, so I'm in college right now, and I care a lot about education and educational technology and urban education. So really, I want to see how technology can help improve education, especially in like urban areas. So one of the coolest classes I took was, so other than like all the regular CS classes I have to take as the major, but I took this class where it was project-based. I had to go in. Every week they taught us how to use a new tool, for example, like 3D printing or laser cutting. And then at the end of the week, we had to build something with it. And a lot of it also involved coding. So that class really showed me like how CS can be applicable to so many different things that you do. And really you can use it to, like, you can just tailor those tools to whatever you want to like do in life and get out of it.
Cool. Something I studied in school that, I'm on the business track. I studied marketing. So even if you're not in CS field, it's really important to consider taking, a simple web design class or an intro to computer science course. One of the most impactful classes I took in school was a web design class because it's something you can use today, right? You can make something out of that really quickly. And then on your team, if you are in an internship or doing anything at school, people will look to you to build that thing. So it makes you really flexible to different types of skill sets. You think differently. I'm sure you guys can talk about that more, but it makes you think more logically. It's very unique from your original curriculum if you're studying like any liberal major. It's good to have a technical in there.
Yeah, and then also just extracurriculars, like were there activities that you were also involved in that you think kind of helped you set you up for success at Google, or what were you involved in school?
Yeah, student government is something that I was involved in. I think even if you're not into government, I think it's good to be a part of an activity that's very organizational. So you know how different people are thinking, how different pieces work together. Like there's marketing, there's recruiting, like just making sure that if you're interested in a certain type of organization, you join an activity that mimics that. So you can get that experience early and leadership experience early in that area.
Yeah, I agree with that. I was very involved in the Women in Computer Science organization, and it's a really nice way to make friends that are sharing your same passion and interest, but also to have conversations about where you're going, the things you're struggling with. It becomes a support group, and it also becomes an opportunity to meet other people that are already in the workforce. So, for example, this organization, it organized events with different companies, and eventually, when I was, I think, a junior, I became the person that organized that. So I was able to reach out to companies and ask them if they wanted to come and have an event with us. And it just gives you a lot of exposure to so many parts of your field. So if you, I don't want to presume I know about, all the different majors and what kinds of groups there are, but if you are really passionate about what you're studying, or even if it's not what you're studying and there's a group for that on campus, I definitely encourage you to join that. It will open so many doors for you. And if there isn't one, you can think about starting one, I think.
I agree. I think really want to emphasize kind of your campus involvement and leadership. Obviously, you guys don't have that much job experience because you're just getting into internships, and so Google really looks at students' leadership on campus and what you're involved with. I'd mentioned that I was really involved with theater at school, and that actually became a huge talking point in my interview for Google. The recruiter who was talking to me wanted to know more about what I did. I co-led a theater troupe, and so I was like, yeah, I help manage a big group of people. We have to collaborate. Google's huge on collaborating. We run shows like every month, and so we wound up talking about, this group was called the Black Underground Theater Association at Dartmouth, and so he was like, why does this sound so radical? Let's talk about it. It's really interesting. But it's a point that really, the things that you do on campus help give color to the resumes you're writing, and this is what recruiters are going to draw them in terms of, oh, this is a really interesting person. Like, not only do they do well in school, but they also are super involved on their campus. Like, I want them to bring that spark to our company. So just definitely don't downplay your extracurricular passions on your resumes. I want you guys to start thinking about your own questions because I don't want to keep hogging the mic, but I do want to ask the panelists, actually, I want to ask you guys what your favorite perk at Google is. We kind of skipped through the life at Google slides, and so there was stuff about all the free food and all the fun perks. So I really want to know what you guys love, like what gets you excited.
That one's really easy for me. So it's no longer a perk. It's very sad. This was the first year that it stopped being a perk. My first 2 years here, the Google New York City office organized a ski trip for all of its engineering employees, and that meant that there were hundreds of us that would take 2 days of work. We're still being paid for work, and also we are being paid a whole trip to the mountains to ski or snowboard. That was definitely my favorite perk. Now we're too big, apparently. The office has just grown, it's too expensive. But that I think that's one of the biggest things. There's teams at Google, they'll do trips to places every now and then, maybe every 4 years, maybe every 2, depends on your team. When I started, I found out the day I started that we were going on a trip to Puerto Rico 3 weeks afterwards. Wow. So trips are really great.
Yeah, that's true. Off-sites, trips with your team, those are really fun. I would say something else that's a really cool perk is if you ever volunteer while working at Google, they'll donate for the hours that you work for a nonprofit. So if you're doing any type of help or giving any type of help to another company external to Google, that's a nonprofit, they'll give I think it's $10, is it?
There's a match. Are you talking about the volunteer hours? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they'll give money for the hours you work, and then they also will match donations that you give to nonprofits. So so everyone from Google who donated at the Starfish Foundation Gala, all of our donations are going to be matched by Google to double that amount.
So that's a huge perk.
So I actually just came back from a team trip. We went to this lodge in Pennsylvania with all these outdoor activities. I learned how to shoot a rifle for the first time, went paintballing for the first time, archery. It was really cool. But my favorite perk would be definitely the food.
Thank you. I was waiting for somebody to say it.
Yeah. So there's this rule, I don't know how official it is, but no Googler can be more than 150 feet, is that right, away from food at any time. So if you've been walking around, there's these little mini kitchens and they're stocked with food all the time. I love them. They're all the time.
Yeah. I'm just going to +1 the food. So, I don't cook. I really need to learn how to cook at some point. But, I eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner at Google basically every day that I can. And it just helps. I don't have to go home and worry about cutting up vegetables and all that stuff. My roommate does not have a job like this, so she's always, making meals for the week and all that. So just one thing to make your life a little bit easier. And the food is actually pretty good. We have, 4 or 5 cafes in this office, and they, a lot of food. So, also, my team, you guys talked a lot about trips. So my organization, I'm in HR, we had our global conference last month in Disney. So we went to Disneyland, and for 2-3 days, it was Googlers at Disney, and they kind of rented out the park one night for us to just do whatever we wanted and dance and all that stuff. So it definitely helps because you do work hard for Google, but you are rewarded as well. So I do want to kind of kick it to you guys and make sure that your questions, if you guys have questions, are getting asked. So there's mics in the center. Does anyone have a question want to kind of kick off with you guys? Yes. If you want to just say it, I can repeat it.
So is there a Google program that can help people learn
I know there's a company, I want to say it's called Udacity, and it's a website that it has online courses that Google has collaborated very closely with on different, I know they have an Android program, so programming for Android phones. I don't know if they have anything else. And I don't know whether Google has anything specific to Google, but there are a lot of websites that have like 1 hour, like coding for 1 hour. And it'll teach you the very, very, very basics of programming so that you have some idea what that means and whether you like it or not. So you know, spend 1 hour of your time and maybe you find something that is super interesting to you and you can then take more and more classes. And most of them are free. It's really, really great. We can definitely send out later a list of websites that do that. There's so many.
For sure. Just to piggyback on what she mentioned, Coursera, or you said Udacity. Udacity, Coursera, these are online curriculum that's just becoming really popular where you can kind of self-teach and self-pace learning some of these coding principles. So Google's working really closely with these entities to create computer science curriculum that anyone can do, because not every student can come to Google, not everyone can go to a school and learn, but you can do it yourself at self-guided pace. And so yeah, there's like a huge industry now that's really teaching people how to do this online on their own. Udacity and Coursera, Coursera. Another point, so Google does do programs with small business owners to help them learn Google tools. And so I know that if you were to look up Accelerate with Google, I'm not sure if you're a business owner, but they do train people how to use Google tools so that they can help grow their online presence. And we actually have some of the people running this program are members of that diversity markets team that trains business owners on how to use the tools. Yep. Right over here.
I'm just wondering what you guys' relationship as interns are, because I know sometimes when you're interning, you feel like kind of isolated, like I'm the only young person in this office. So do you guys like talk to each other? How do you collaborate? Does Google like get you guys together? Have you ever met each other?
Okay, yeah, and so did everybody hear the question, or should I? No? Yeah. Okay, so it's about like the relationship within interns. So I'll let the current intern answer that.
So you mean like relationships between the interns themselves? Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I'm part of the engineering practicum program, which is really great. So it's for freshmen and sophomores, and they structure it so that you really like get the most out of it. And a lot of that, they have like a lot of planned events. Like they had a double-decker bus tour. So and it's completely optional, but if you go, it's a great chance to meet the other interns. There's also, for example, the team trip I was telling you about. I made so many new intern friends on that trip. So I think there are a lot of opportunities, and it's encouraged really to get to know the other interns. And I wouldn't say that's just for my engineering practicum program. I think overall, like Google really emphasizes like reach out while you're here. Like I love talking to not only the other interns but the other people on my team. They're like great to get to know. Like find mentors while you're here. Yeah.
Does anyone else want to jump in on that, or like from your intern community when you were interning?
Yeah, so I think Google does do a great job at making sure that you have a close connection with the other interns. Before we even started, and I'm speaking on the Bold internship at least, there was a Google Plus group, right? So we were already on there. Hey, I'm so nervous. Where are you living? Can I live with you? So by the time you get there, there are a lot of really amazing people to work with. So they're all like, let's have dinner the first night. Let's study this other night. So it's really cool to hang out with people early on before you even start. Especially if you find out someone might be in your campus or nearby, they have like little meetups beforehand also.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we had, there was a Google site where we were asked to share a picture and like a blurb. So we had this like awkward site with like people's names, like an awkward picture and then like a blurb and then their school or whatever. But soon enough, when we started, the first week, you take all of your classes together. We have training classes. So you really spend like most of your day for that first week with these people. And you've already met at least one of them because you're probably living with one of them. And, you don't really... after that, you already know the people. So if you don't get along with them, that's a whole other issue. But yeah, you have those relationships. And then with the other programs that are constantly being hosted, there's no way you're not gonna feel alone unless you choose to, I would say.
I'm really happy that Monica's enjoying the activities because my team plans them, so thank you. We took our interns to Dave & Buster's earlier this week, and then next week they have an improv class with UCB that's coming in for like a private improv class. So, yeah. Oh yeah, and do you guys mind actually, because I forgot, this is being recorded, so if you can ask your questions on the mic so that people when they watch it back can hear, that would be great. Yes. I'm short too, I wouldn't.
Yeah, it's all good. So I'll be the first to use the mic. My name is Nia Wright. My question is, I'm an artist, not very tech savvy, but my dad's a Google partner, so he's been like driving tech into me since I was born. But I'm more on the artsy side. I like to draw, things like that. So what opportunities are there here for artists, people who are just creative, like, of course, you can use a computer, learn how to use Illustrator, Adobe, all that stuff, but people who are just outward and even fashion, I'm a fashion design major, things like that. Like, do you guys offer opportunities for pure creatives like that?
So I'll say that a lot of the opportunities we talked about in terms of the internships and being like a new graduate, like currently in college, there's not that many opportunities necessarily that are very niche in like art and fashion. It's about your transferable skills. So, you know, if you do have a sales skill set or if you do have a computer science skill set, Google would bring you in. It doesn't really matter what your major is. But in terms of once you get to Google and once you've been here for a while, there are some more like very niche creative teams. So we have a creative lab that works like with our marketing department. There is the Google Doodle team. I met someone from there who went to RISD and she helps design all of the Google Doodles. So there are those opportunities, but I would say for someone at your age and level, you know, you have to get a little bit more work experience before coming in for a creative position. The other piece too is that there are the opportunities once you come to Google to kind of share those skills. Maybe it's not in your core role capacity, but we have classes like Googler to Googler where you can teach other people things. So, you know, I have teammates who teach like knitting and drawing, that kind of stuff, and that's all really celebrated, but I want to just manage expectations that wouldn't be your core role starting out. Yeah. Cool. Yes, can you come to the mic, please? Cool. And if other people have questions, you can start like lining up at the mics too, as well.
Okay, is this working? Hello? Mm-hmm. Oh, hi. Hi, my name is Eliana, and I'm a liberal arts English major. Mm-hmm. And I'm not that into that engineering type thing, but I'm also very into editing and writing. Do you have something that's kind of into like editing the page or what I can do for that?
Yeah, like I said, it's about your transferable skills, right? So you would definitely be talking probably in your resume to the strength of your writing and editing skills, and that might be really good for marketing or for a communications team, which we do offer opportunities in. So it would be on the business side. You kind of look to see what's available, but I kind of want to get everyone out of the mindset that a major maps to a particular job at Google, because it doesn't. It's about the skills you have and the internship opportunities you've had. So so I don't know, what are some of the internships maybe that you've done where you use your writing and editing skills?
Internships.
You haven't had?
My second year of college.
Oh, okay, no, that's fine. I was the same way. Google was like my first real internship. So so yeah, I think it's about, you know, if you really like if you really like writing, then you're going to be making sure that you're getting opportunities to like write and edit, and think about looking at communications roles. Maybe getting communications internships before applying to Google. That's going to look really strong when there are just like a couple of spots to do, you know, comms type work or other work that isn't necessarily 100% writing, but where writing skills are really necessary.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Over here.
Hi, my name's Aaliyah, and I would like to be a software engineer here at Google. And I was just wondering what the life of a software engineer is at Google, and if you're able, are you strictly coding 100% of the time? Are you able to collaborate with other people, and things like that?
Great question.
I feel like I wish I coded more. So as a software engineer, once you're working at when you're coding for a small project at school, you just, you have some small requirement and you just need to get out of the way and that's it. Here, when you want to do something, you really need to think about the long-term impact that code is going to be powering a Google product for potentially years to come. and it has to be done the right way. So there's a lot of design that goes into writing any piece of code and a lot of conversations with your teammates. So pretty much any non-trivial decision needs to be discussed with your team just to make sure everyone's on the same page. Someone might think of something that you hadn't thought of that is a potential issue with your design. And then once you have a design that's approved, then you start coding. I would say on average, I code somewhere like 4 hours a day, like half my day. The other half is spent between meetings and designing and lunch or whatever. And collaboration is definitely central to Google. Like if you're a person that likes to do things by yourself, you probably shouldn't come here because it's not gonna go by. People here are really, really passionate about things, and they want to hear what you have to say, and they want to give you feedback on it. And it's really, really cool because you're constantly working with other people. You're not the computer science engineer that's like in that corner by yourself. You're communicating, talking, sharing ideas. Yeah.
Thank you.
Right here.
My name is Deshauna Henry, and I'm a current computer science major as well. And right now, actually, before I became a computer science major, as of this summer semester, I was actually in nursing for about 3 semesters. And I'm in a robotics class this summer. Being new to computer science, I don't really have much to present to the table except I'm very creative, I'm a fast learner. And I have an engineer that's in my class. I have a computer science major that's in my class that's been here for like they're a junior practically. And I'm really nervous about it. I mean, I was excited about computer science, definitely after watching the Big Hero 6 movie. I just like, yes, I want to make Baymax, it'd be cool. And so I wanted to ask, like, do you have to do a lot of math? Like, do you have to be particularly brilliant? Do you have to have a certain do you have to be more left-brainy? I don't know. It makes me nervous that, what if it isn't for me? Like, do I have to, I don't want to have to keep changing my major. I'm really excited about computer science, but I guess what I'm asking is, what do you do in computer science particularly? Like, what are your options, I guess?
Yeah, so I can go right now. So I had the same terrified feeling that you just talked about. So when I started with that Google summer camp, I knew nothing, and then half the program knew nothing, but the other half knew a lot. So I went in, and I was like, they're definitely going to be like, this girl, why is she here? But the key, and you mentioned even that you're a fast learner, the key is really just be excited about what you're learning, and find a friend who you can like stick with and like have a study buddy, because like, and I've learned this, like, all your classes become so much easier when you have someone who's there. You can support each other. Please don't try to like do it on your own. Like, ask questions, put yourself out there. And it's gonna feel scary, but if you can find that friend, find a mentor, then I feel like that's gonna just help you get over the huge initial like fear of terror. And sometimes I still feel terrified, There's all these like brilliant minds around me, and I'm like, oh, what if, am I actually, meant to be doing computer science? But the way I look at it is computer science is a tool that I'm going to be using for myself to do really what I'm passionate about in life, and that's completely different for everyone. So for me, what keeps me going is I'm going to use computer science to hopefully like help out with education in the future. So if you have something something like that in mind, like know that CS can like help you get there.
So would you say to minor in something? What would you think is ideal to minor with computer science? Like, that would make sense, I guess.
I think it's whatever you're passionate about. Because for me, I don't know that urban education has anything to do with computer science, but that's what I care about. So I'm like, what's getting me through all these computer science classes is trying to find out where exactly, what it is that I'm learning that I can go ahead and apply to urban education.
Yeah, and to that point, there's a lot, pretty much every Googler, I don't want to make that assumption, but most Googlers I know have some really big passion other than computer science. So one girl in my team, she sings for choir, like she travels, she sings professionally. That was her thing. Someone else in my team is really passionate about sound engineering, so he does sound stuff outside of computer science. I know people that are runners, so they run Ironmans. It's not that computer science needs to be your only passion, your only focus. It's whatever you want. So if you were, I don't know, if you would still want to do some nursing, maybe there's something you can do in that way. That's not the actual degree, but just whatever you feel a desire for, passion towards, you should just do that as a minor, definitely.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. All right, over here.
I'm Rigiatsu, and I just had a question as far as like people that are starting out, that are still, even though they know what they're gonna major in, do you guys have like programs or internships to just help like the student explore?
Yeah, so what year are you?
I'm gonna be a freshman in the fall.
Okay. So google.com/students, like I said, is going to be your best friend. There are a lot of developmental programs before internship opportunities on the business side that just give you a glimpse of Google and a glimpse of careers. So I would monitor that site just because we've had programs in the past, for instance, called Bold Discovery, where we bring students in for a weekend and we teach them about all the careers on the business side, and they get like a challenge to work on. And so there are those opportunities to just do a couple developmental days at Google that aren't, a full-on internship. So I don't want to be too specific just because the names change and requirements change, but google.com/students, I'm a broken record, is your best friend.
I also want to put in a plug for the engineering practicum program. So you said you were a freshman. So for all you like freshmen and sophomores, when I started taking CS my first year at college, and I had actually just gotten out of my very first CS class, and then the engineering practicum program deadlines were coming up, so I was like, oh no. But I interviewed anyways, and really I felt like Google will see, like they know that not everyone starts super early on, but they'll see how you think. So even if you're terrified, you're like, there's no way I'm gonna get this, give it a shot, please go for it.
Yeah, EP, I hire for engineering practicum. Definitely check it out. We know that as freshmen you might not have a bunch of courses under your belt, but we're looking for that passion and that maybe that involvement on campus, and we can teach you those skills. So definitely check that out.
Okay. Besides like volunteering, I know you guys don't have like healthcare because it's mostly engineering, but like how early on should we like start volunteering?
Start volunteering?
Yeah.
Now. Why not? I look at volunteering as a way to do something that you're really passionate about, but it also might help you figure out if a certain career is for you, shadowing professionals in different industries. Not all of these things are going to be paid, but why not? You learn a lot from learning what you don't like, just as much as you learn from doing what you think you do like. So take as many shadow and volunteer opportunities as you can.
Okay. Do you guys help like apply like your summer volunteer stuff with like your help professions? Or
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Since I want to be in healthcare, but I still want to explore and stuff, can you guys are you guys able to apply some of the skills that we learn at Google like elsewhere?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think that I know people who have come from the World Health Organization to Google who work in our benefits team and do health and wellness analytics. I know someone who was in my same program who just went back to medical school. So there's definitely those opportunities, and I'm happy to talk to you more about them offline for sure. Thank you. Here.
Hi, my name is Betty, and so you guys are talking about all those great internships and programs. But how do you make sure you stand out from everyone else when applying?
That's a good question.
So one of the things that I was always told when I was applying, and I've seen it true now that I'm full-time, is that you need to show passion on your resume. You shouldn't write "I'm passionate about" because that doesn't show me that you have passion. That shows me that you are saying you have passion. What shows me you have passion is that you've done things outside of your core school program. So, for a computer science student, if he or she has projects they've done, a phone app or a coding competition, and it doesn't even matter whether you win or you don't win. It's more a matter of you are spending your free time doing these things and exploring and learning. So, I don't know how that translates to business, but definitely for the tech side, it's doing things outside of the core program that your school offers.
I think more so, I guess, for the business side, I think a big thing that will help you stand out, and you don't even have to be in business, right? But if you're applying for any business internship, especially bold, quantifying your impact. So numbers on your resume is huge. Just saying like, I helped put on an event for X amount of people. I made this percentage change in the amount of people that attended student events. Just making sure that you quantify your impact, and it really shows that you're being professional, you're focused, and that you're really trying to drive impact by the numbers. I think for the business side, that's really important.
I agree, and just both of them have mentioned resume. Resume is so important. Really take time on your resumes and know that they're living and breathing documents that should constantly be updated. I am a recruiter. We read many resumes, and honestly, you have 30 seconds to get somebody's attention. So you want your resume to be clean. You want it to really highlight your accomplishments. You want to make sure there's no typos. I've seen just, people, it's like, do you even care about getting this job? But, really get a lot of eyes on your resume, and the tips that they've talked about, putting your extracurriculars in addition to internships, and quantifying your impact, letting people know how you as an individual made this club better or this, this project better is so important.
Thank you.
Yeah. Right here? Oh, I've been, y'all been waiting for a while.
My name is Lexis. I was wondering for college students here who are planning on to fully take advantage of the Google internships and programs, is there anything that you didn't necessarily take advantage of in college that you wish you would have, that maybe would have either bettered your experience or definitely prepares you better for the programs at Google?
So I think for me, asking questions, like asking for help to the professors can be like incredibly scary for me. So I think that could translate over here, where at first it's a little intimidating to go up to other team members. So last summer, there were points where I'd hit a roadblock in my project, and it would have been something where if I had asked someone on my team a question, I could have easily figured it out in 15 minutes, but I would sit there and try to figure it out. So something that I would definitely take advantage of is reaching out to the people on your team and the people around you, because really they're all willing to help. And especially in the engineering practicum program, they know that you have only taken maybe a few CS classes, so they take you on knowing that you're going to be asking them questions.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it also sounds like something you mentioned too is just a little bit more about mentorship, like taking that opportunity to seek out mentorship. That's something that I wish I did more of in school. I think, I did well, but you don't have to carry the burden of stuff on your own. There are people who want to help you, not to be afraid to go ask for help, and just shadow someone who you think you want to do what they do. I'm sure they're more than willing to tell you about the roadblocks they faced, how to make it easier for you. So take every opportunity you can to network and to just keep in touch with people you're meeting and seek out advice and mentorship.
Okay, thank you.
Over here.
Hi, I'm Kayla, and publicity speaking and getting Google's names out there. Personally, I'm an NFL cheerleader, and with that, I'm constantly in front of the media. So does Google offer jobs that, say, work for people who are, again, in front of the media or just are natural people person?
Yeah, I think it's, again, I'm a broken record about all of those translatable skills. There's not necessarily one opportunity I can point you to. If you are looking for, are you a student or looking for jobs?
I'm a student.
Okay. Google.com/students. Also Google.com/careers, I believe you can look at. I think it's how you're if you want a position at Google, find something that you think you're qualified for. But how are you talking about that experience, right? So does that to me that translates to being really good at delivering presentations, I know that you could go in front of clients and know how to handle yourself and be calm, that kind of thing. I've met people here at Google who actually are public facing, who go, there's a woman who sits in this New York office. She goes on to talk shows and talks about Google search trends, and she loves pop culture, so she gets to just mix that. She's been in the game for a while, so she's been able to create that opportunity for herself. So if you're starting out and you want to work here, it might be in a sales position, but your experience of being an extrovert really would make you good in front of clients at delivering presentations.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Over here. I know it's tall. I would be struggling too. Yeah.
All right. So hi. I know you've already talked about the importance of having transferable skills, especially for like the non-engineering jobs at Google. But for those jobs, are those reserved for just like liberal arts majors? Because I'm an engineer, but I'm not a software engineer or a comp sci engineer. So as an engineer, could I apply to Bold and programs like that, or like are those reserved for like?
Nope, they're not reserved for anyone, any major at all. So you can be another type of engineer that's not software, and be applying to Bold. I've talked about transferable skills, but you think like an engineer, you think differently, and those skill sets are really coveted on both sides. So you don't just have to be a software engineer.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Ashley Miller. I'm a sophomore, and I was wondering, does Google offer advertisement and marketing internship?
Yes. Yes. Do you want to talk a little bit more to that?
Yeah, definitely. So the Bold program has marketing, sales, advertising-based roles in it, and it's really cool because you actually have the opportunity to meet people who are doing marketing. If you're in sales or if you're in marketing, you can meet salespeople, and you have cross-collaboration. So there are opportunities for that, and it's a really good way to see. Google, honestly, is huge in advertising and in marketing. So to be a part of that, it's a really good bullet on your resume. It's really good experience off the bat. People on the team are very experienced.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and ads are how Google makes its money. Like search is a free product, but that's why there are all of those ads that pop up. And so in terms of being a new graduate and an intern, we actually put a lot of students, the majority of our students, into small, medium business sales and customer service. And they work with these businesses to help grow their online presence, work on their ad strategy, all of that. Yeah.
As someone who recruits for these internship programs, what is something that you look for in an applicant? Like, you're like, oh, she does this, 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 and that, and these are the qualities that I'm looking for in someone who wants to intern at Google.
Yeah, so I've actually worked on recruiting for the business side and also for now the tech side, and so it definitely depends on the program. Like I said, your resume is key, absolutely. I want to, if I'm looking at a resume first, I just want to see that you put some time into it and it's not a mess. But I'm looking to see your experience. I'm looking to see what internships you've held and how they relate to what we're hiring for. We mentioned kind of like the impact that you've been able to have. I don't want, I did this, I did that. No, like I managed a budget of X amount. I increased productivity in my team, X% by changing this process. I'm looking for those bullets that really drill down. If you're on the tech side, I wrote this many lines of code and help launch this product. Like that's the kind of stuff I'm looking for. I also, because you guys are students, we're also looking for your involvement on campus. Leadership is huge at Google. We've talked about how important collaboration is, and so we really are looking for people who've made a difference on their campuses and want to work with people and can bring that, to Google. So, yeah.
Also, what is like the application process like? Like you apply, you interview, like what is the process?
It all depends on what program you're going to, because the programs are all different. But for internships, you would apply online, and then you would have probably phone interviews. It differs the number of interviews you're going to have, whether you're applying for a business program or a tech program. With a technical internship, you're doing some coding and you're working with an engineer, and you guys are, they're giving you problems and you're solving them together. On the business side, it's, just a little different. It's more behavioral and then skills-based questions over the phone.
Okay, thank you.
Hi again.
Hi.
My name's Oriana. I'm going to be a senior at SUNY Purchase College this year.
Okay.
Since you're diversity interns coordinator, recruiter, I was wondering if Google has a whole diversity team, or what is their commitment to diversity in the office and to discussing, like, especially right now that there's so much, ignorance towards human rights and just complete violation of that, like in this city, around the world. When you come into the office, do you feel comfortable talking about, like, being a woman of color, like having a disability, like being trans? Like, what is that at Google? Also, I noticed both the O's are rainbow right now. So.
Yep. So that's a good observation. That was for Pride. Google marches in Pride in a lot of its global offices every year. So that's a good question. I would definitely want to get other people's perspectives. I actually interned on the Global Diversity and Inclusion team when I was an intern, and my internship projects were around supporting some of our employee resource groups. So groups like the Hispanic Googler Network, the Veterans Network, we have the Gaglers who lead the Pride March, we have Graglers, so older Googlers, Black Googler Network, there's a Filipino Googler Network, there's a Special Needs Network. So we have about 17 of these employee resource groups, and we have 17 of these employee resource groups, and when I worked on the diversity team, it was my job to help liaise with them. What are their needs? How can we help them execute on projects? Which is awesome. That's part of the reason I came back to Google, was seeing, just how invested they were in making sure that their employees were comfortable and could really bring their whole selves to work, like not have to leave anything behind. You'll guys even notice if you use the bathroom over there, it's not a gender-specific bathroom, and that's because we don't necessarily believe in this binary of gender. We have employees that have transition genders, and so all that is very inspiring working here, to know that they're supportive of just all types of people. I'll give one more example and then I'll let you guys speak on it. But recently, actually the same day that we were celebrating Pride in the office, we also had a day of solidarity with Charleston, South Carolina. So Googlers from all offices, even our international offices, wore Black Lives Matter shirts. And if they didn't have Black Lives Matter shirts, some people made them. They put like a Post-it on or like ironed letters on. People just wore like a black shirt in solidarity. But it was really powerful to see, with all that's been going on, especially in the Black community, people who are just allies, who are there to support and who wanted to talk about these issues. And so I don't know that happens at other companies. I don't know if it's that comfortable that you can talk about, current events. I think sometimes in other industries you come in, you have to make some money for a company. That I do appreciate being able to come in and really talk about the toll that it takes when all of this is happening in my community.
Yeah, I can speak more about the fact that Google released its diversity numbers about a year or so ago, and that was a huge step for at least the tech industry, where most companies don't really speak about how their diversity stats look like. And Google was the first one to really announce these numbers, and risking a lot. There could have been a lot of pushback, a lot of people criticizing the company, but it's a reality, and it's not just Google. It's at least the tech world. It's it's mostly men, and there's very, very few other ethnicities other than white. So Google releases its numbers, and that I think that says a lot about the company, the fact that it cares, like it did all that analysis and then is putting that out there to start a conversation. And Google definitely supports, there's so many events that Google does for diversity, to bring in more women, to bring in from other ethnicities. So I, as a Mexican and female, you could say I'm a double diversity, I'm double minority. I do feel like Google is working very hard in these things, and that's actually something that means a lot to me, and it's really important to me. And I help out with a lot of events of that kind. So I do feel that Google puts a lot of money and effort and care in that.
Do you want to speak on it, or yeah?
Yeah, I can touch on it too. Another really interesting thing Google does is one of the RGs is Mosaic. So it's a combination of people from different backgrounds, and it really helps keep you honest if you feel like you don't know what's going on, or you don't understand an issue that someone else might be having because they're different from you, or you feel like people don't understand you. You can do an interview with your peers around you, and Mosaic will interview you, and everyone will listen to your point and do a Q&A. So it really gets rid of any ignorance. It's very open. it really helps just keep everyone honest in terms of how they're viewing each other, and it helps smooth the day-to-day so that you know that everyone's on the same page and there's no bias in terms of how people are viewing you and that the things you say matter.
And I guess for me, from the intern perspective, so Jana touched on the different diversity groups at Google, and we actually had a mixer organized between a lot of these diversity groups and the interns, and that was awesome for me because I got a chance to sit down and I really connected with the Hola network. They're the Hispanic Googlers here, and right away they were there. They were mentors, and I really felt like I was included, and I could find that piece of me at Google.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? I know we're just about at time. Is that right? We have 5 minutes. Yeah, maybe just some closing remarks. Like, are there any questions? Okay. Maybe just like a last piece of advice you would give, knowing that we have students of all ages and all different backgrounds. Maybe what advice would you give to a college student right now?
I would say 2 things, and they're probably cheesy. You've probably heard them a million times, but they're really true. And one is find out what you're passionate for and do it. Like, it really, there's no point in going to college if you don't care about what you're doing. And if you do care about something, you should start doing it now. You can always push it back to later and then never do it. So definitely do that. And the other thing I would say is work hard. Work very hard because you'll see progress, you'll do things, and it'll be very fulfilling to see, that you've worked hard, and you'll eventually, even if it takes a long time, you'll see fruits for what you're doing. So don't get, caught up with just like, I'm young, and then at some point you're not young, but you still think you're young, and then life went by, you didn't do anything. And then by the time you want to do it, they're like, oh, you're too old. So find what you're passionate for and work hard for it.
I agree with that 100%. And on top of that, I would also mention to always be ready and be open-minded. If there's a networking event on campus, if there's any type of event on campus where you have people coming, alumni, or just groups from the town that your school is based in, you should go and meet those people. You really never know how impactful other people can be to your life. People have a lot of different backgrounds, and they know a lot of people that could probably help you decide what you want to do or guide your life. So definitely be open-minded to meeting as many people as possible, and always be ready to keep those relationships. Try and, add them on LinkedIn and check in every few months. Just keep relationships fresh. You really never know who's going to get you your first job or your first internship or change your life. So
2 things. The first, yes, be passionate, and also be aware, your major might not necessarily completely map to what you're going to do later on in life, and or a specific job you're going to do. So keeping that in mind, do extracurriculars and do volunteering that you are passionate about and that you care about. The second one being, be bold. There's so many opportunities. We talked about so many here today. Even if you think you don't qualify, you're too scared to apply, just go, do it. You never know what's going to happen. I definitely didn't think I was qualified. I never thought I would get it. You never know.
I agree. I'll just say that I recently attended a panel where a woman said, I take no more as a suggestion than a decision. And I think that's all about that perseverance, right? I know a lot of people at Google who applied for the first time and didn't get it. But they took that opportunity to go get other experiences other places and just continue to be a strong candidate. And now they're at Google doing amazing things. And not everyone here is going to be at Google, but really keeping that in mind, that you can't let rejection, you're going to face rejection. It's about that resilience and that perseverance and finding the next opportunity to really excel, because things can happen down the line. That would be my biggest piece of advice. Did I see a hand over here? Yeah. Do you mind going to the mic, because we're being taped?
Speaking about passions, what do you guys do outside of work and outside of Google? What do you guys like to do, or what other career goals do you have for yourself in the long term?
I guess I already talked a lot about, so I care about urban education, and I do a lot of outside things related to that. So, for example, I'm teaching a class next year about educational technology and equity. So right now I'm just, me and my partner are doing lots of readings on that. We're trying to design a project where people can do a hands-on, like build an educational technology and then take it out to a school. So things like that. And then completely outside of school-related things, I love dancing. So I do a lot of that.
An example is I have a graphic design collective, so I'm a graphic artist, and I pooled together my friends, and we started a group that does work for nonprofits. So just finding what you love to do, finding people that love to do that, and doing it with them, and you'll be surprised the impact you can have.
I would say there's two things that I put a lot of effort and time to. One is when I can, helping out with things like this. I go to a Women in Computer Science conference every year, and try and just keep bringing in more women into technology, or just encouraging women really. The other thing, I volunteer at a group where we help women that have had like miscarriages and things like that are really, really struggling. And yeah, that's something very meaningful to me.
Yeah. Well, you've heard about my passion for Beyonce. But no, outside of that, I do love helping out with these types of visits. I'm really active in our Black Googler network. And then outside of work, I run half marathons and do kind of like 15Ks and things like that, and help train other people to run. So with that, I think we are at time. Is that right? Okay, I just want to, can you please give it up for these panelists who've been amazing today? Yep, and thank you guys for coming. We'll be around if there's some one-off questions. Thank you guys. Yeah, I think.